All right, guys, here we go. We're gonna watch this video here. This is a conversation between Sneaka and Abba from Abba and Preach. I'm pretty interested, so let's get this going.
Channel's doing really well. Congrats. What have you noticed? Because you get almost 1 million views on every single reaction video. You do social commentary on a regular basis. How's your perception of the world changed? Like, what's your worldview now? What's some stuff that you're thinking about that other people probably are not tapped into because of how much social commentary you do?
If you're asking me what's changed about me, I think being around Preach, having the opportunity to. It's also like my time on YouTube has been interesting because I started really aggressively when I was around 26 and now I'm 32. That's been a really big transitional period in my life. I think I've become much more relaxed. I've just chilled out a lot more. I'm not as angry. I don't have as many issues. I'm in a much better place.
You're making a lot more money.
I mean, that's only been the last year and a half. Before that, I was still making 30, 40K a year. So you have to imagine the period where most of my change happened, I was still.
That's awesome, bro. I respect that. I respect that. Only because it sounds like he's been doing it for a while and he finally took off, and good for him. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty awesome.
Still making the same amount of income, and I've been living on 30 to 40K most of my life, either working in the military, running my own business, doing all this stuff. It's only during the pandemic that things blew up because people don't realize during the pandemic it went from 120K to 1.7 million. So
yeah, people were home a lot more. That's the whole thing. That's when I blew up. It's crazy where everybody really they're like, I really blew up. I really blew up during. It's like I really blew up during COVID. That's when I went from 0 followers on TikTok to. I think my first year I banged out 1.2 or 1.3. And my first year I went from working my job as a manager, I managed a cleaning crew for a bus company, making about $45,000 a year. A lot of points I was working 2 jobs, but to being a content creator, and I was able to quit my job. And it's crazy. And I feel like there's a lot of people who blew up during COVID because everybody was home watching content. Everybody was home watching content, and because nobody could really work, so they're home, and there's probably 2 or 3 times the amount of engagement, and a lot of people blew up, and then a lot of people just couldn't hold on to it after the fact, and they started getting frustrated because their views went down. But of course, your views are going to go down. There's a change. There's a change in the amount of viewership, and so you have to be a little bit more competitive.
So people are like, oh, you guys are rich now. You guys changed. It's bro, it's only been the last year and a half. What do you think? I went through 30 years of my life living one way, and then I got to 32, and now I'm a different human being. They don't know me like that. But my homies who I've never changed. I still got the same friends from when I was poor to today. We still kick it. We can spend time. My family members, none of these people see me as changed, but everyone online is convinced I have. I'm just hey man, it's all
well, bro, it's crazy because people, a lot of people will just say you've changed when they don't agree with the opinion that you've made. It's very annoying. There's a lot of people outside of commentary, who think that they think that they know you personally. I think it's a little bit of a parasocial relationship type of an activity. Obviously, I think it's a good thing when you get you're held accountable for your actions by your audience. It can be a really good thing. But sometimes some people just they get upset, so they react emotionally and just tell you that you've changed a lot, bro. You've changed a lot, bro. Of course, I got fatter. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't get fatter.
Will perceive you, but how has your worldview changed? Getting money.
Yeah, so to that point is because I've changed as a person in terms of being much more mellowed out. I'm much more reflective. I'm much more spending time listening, which is part of why I can't stream, because I feel like I talk too much. Me personally, I can't do it because I have to spend a lot of time listening. Or sometimes, I don't know if you ever had this, Sneako. Sometimes I'll talk and I'll be mid-sentence and I'm wait, why am I still talking right now? What the fuck am I even saying at the moment?
Yeah,
I have moments like that, and that's when I realize I might need to shut the fuck up and do some reflection. And people meet me in person sometimes and they realize I'm really quiet and I prefer listening. And so I think that's being the biggest change. I'm just slower, I just take my time a lot more and I just spend more time listening to people. So I can see the ways, rather than being so antagonistic and sitting across from somebody you're fucking wrong or whatever it is, I can spend time and be where do we agree here? Where's our common ground? Where do we disagree? And where can we get to the point of this shit? And so I'm much better at problem solving. And this is even something I reflected with my relationship with Preach. It's
Wait, are they gonna kiss? It's looking a little sussy right now in the game. You know what I'm saying? Spider-Man kiss.
There was a lot of turbulence business-wise and through a work relationship initially because conflict resolution wasn't something I was the best at. But over the years, having somebody you work with over that time, you have to learn a lot of really important life lessons. And it's taught me a lot in that regard. Just I know how to step back and listen a lot more nowadays.
You know what happened to me when I stepped back and listened? I realized most people don't think. Most people have nothing to say. Most people just echo the same stuff that you see online.
I just don't really know what to say here. Because I don't listen. I had a conversation with Sneako. Sneako does the same thing, but for a different side. I think people think that I don't know if you think that what you're saying is something that's like new and unique, but it's not. We've heard that a lot, especially a couple of years ago on social. A few years ago, before things got very progressive online, this is all people would hear is like women are inferior, women this, women that, and just screaming. If you don't have the patience for the conversation, then you shouldn't be having the conversation, because even if you were right, which you're not, you don't communicate that to anybody by screaming. If people are so wrong, then you should be able to sit down, listen, and engage what they have to say, and then be like, no, you're wrong because of. But realistically speaking, like if we sat down and had like a legitimate conversation, you probably wouldn't have the extreme views that you do. I'm not saying that all of them are bad, but they're so hyper exaggerated. So it's just kind of a very ignorant way to engage. I realize they're just parroting the same. Some people do. But that's not how like, even when he was talking to like Destiny, that was like, probably the best example. Everything he said got completely debunked. And he's like, no, and he doubles down on everything. So it's just kind of funny. It's just kind of a silly thing to say.
Most people are virtue signaling, and like genuinely, like that's why I get so frustrated. And
so expose it. But it's kind of hard to say that people are virtue signaling, because somebody will be like, hey, I think women are equal. But like, no, you're just virtue signaling. I say, wow. Well, you know, that's a rough take, man. Like, that's a rough take.
Interrupt people, and I don't have that same thing where you like mid-sentence, like, what the fuck am I talking about? I'm pretty like set in stone with my worldview. Mm-hmm. I genuinely think like I've taken the red pill. I see the truth of the world, and the red pill is bigger than just women. The red pill is realizing that we're all just pawns in this game. Mm-hmm.
You know what's so interesting about that? You call that red pill. I think that we just call that everybody thinks that. Like, not for nothing, but everybody actually believes that we're just some kind of a pawn in a game. A lot of people are of the opinion, and I am of this opinion as well, especially when it comes to the government. The government doesn't really have necessarily have our best interests in mind, and that they are. What? They don't have our best interests in mind. And that they're just kind of acting in a way that serves their best interest. Not that things can't change, but that's just kind of how things are in a lot of cases. I remember I was talking to my mother the other day. We were talking about like gas prices and how they're expensive, and you know, we mentioned that like, hey, you know, there was a bill that the Republicans passed, or the Republicans turned down, to monitor prices of gasoline or oil prices. And she's like, yeah, I believe that. They just don't care. Nobody cares. It's like, you know what I mean? So I think that's not a unique thought. It's interesting that he thinks that's a unique thought. That's a thought that's been shared by a lot of different people, that we're kind of all just pawns in a game. It's just that I think that some people are a little bit more open to believing that things can potentially change in different ways, depending on like the different actions that you make. Like, yeah, you can vote and potentially change things. Of course, you know, we need to vote for pretty drastic change, like maybe some kind of a I don't know. Anyway, third party system. But anyway, yeah, I just want to understand that like these opinions aren't really necessarily unique opinions that like nobody else has. I think almost every political ideology has this opinion that things that we're all kind of like part of a game that doesn't really work for us, regardless of whether you're progressive or conservative.
They're controlling us completely. And so because I follow that, and I don't see how anyone cannot see that like as a reality. Like the pharmaceutical industry, the banks, the government, everything is all a scam meant to manipulate and control us.
Yeah, but so in what way? Like, I don't necessarily disagree, but in what way? So when you say that the government is meant to control us in some capacity, well, how do you mean that? I don't know that it's really more like, because he'll bring up COVID, that COVID was like some kind of a conspiracy just to control us. That is ridiculous, right? But if you made a point about how the government doesn't care about us because they won't actually pass legislation to control drug prices and things along that lines, like, then yeah, we can kind of get on. I can get on with that more.
So because I follow that, like I never find myself get off track. Like I stick to that because I don't see how that's just not the truth. That is the truth. We can't trust the government. There is brainwashing. Social media is bad for you. TikTok.
Yeah, nobody denies that. I think everybody knows that social media is bad for you. It's really bad for your mental health, of course. Like, absolutely 100%. But who's denying that? Like, these are points that you never really got to make because you were just busy screaming in our conversation.
Is ran by China, meant to manipulate people and make them all like change their gender and believe in nonsense.
That's just weird.
It's bad for you. TikTok is ran by China, meant to manipulate people and make them all like change their gender and believe in nonsense.
I mean, like, China has influence over TikTok, and I absolutely wouldn't be surprised if they're taking our information. Absolutely. But you think that China's creating like genders to ruin Western society? That's just a bizarre perspective. I don't know how I feel about that. I just don't. There's nothing to even close to suggest that.
Mm-hmm. I understand.
Once I realized that and I talked to people, I'm like, oh my God, these people have absolutely nothing original to say. They just saying, so they just have to go, well, this is what I think about Trump. And well, I don't like a pro-life, pro-choice. It doesn't fucking matter what you think about pro-life, pro-choice.
Well, it totally does. That's just incorrect, right? Because we just, like, abortion rights have been, the Roe v. Wade was overturned. So abortion rights were lost for a lot of people. So these things actually do matter and they impact a lot of people. Maybe not you because you're a guy, but like these opinions do matter. So what are you talking about? And then other people, of course, if you're pro-life, you believe that this is a fucking incredible win, right? So yeah,
we can't change it. There's no point in voting. There's no.
Well, we can't. What do you mean it got changed? What do you mean that it did get changed though? How do you say we can't change it? It was literally changed. I mean, Trump was able to get into office and impacted. He got lucky being able to pull 3 Supreme Court justices in. I think that we need to add term limits to Supreme Court justices. But like, what are you talking about? These things actually do matter. What are you referring to?
There's no point in putting BLM in your bio. The world is the way it is.
Well, I mean, some people do put that in there, just a virtue signal, sure, but.
And the only way we can act accordingly is taking our power back and fighting that.
What are you, a fucking leftist, communist? How do you fight it? I wonder.
I'd say this. There's a point where you learn that a lot of things that you've been taught were lies. So, for example, in my case, absolutely. I remember being pushed so heavily to go to school. This is before the internet was like popping. And I was a 17-year-old who hated academia.
True. I respect that.
And my parents pressured me so much. My guidance counselor pressured me. I had good grades. I hated every second of being in school.
Dude, you know what's fucked is I remember, I just think I lost this. What's crazy is, like, I remember getting pushed to school too. They're like, oh, just go to school. I genuinely wish that my guidance counselor, I mean, at this point I'm doing really well, so I guess I don't wish that, but they just said like, hey, you know what? If you don't really like going to school, get a trade. This is one of those problems. And I feel like a big reason why, schools push you to go to more school that isn't necessarily good for you is like for a financial factor. Like, I don't think that it's necessarily a bad idea to go to like a liberal arts school to get like a 2-year degree, like a liberal arts degree, if you don't know what you want to do. But I don't think it's a bad idea to go do a job that's going to like stick around. Some kind of a trade is really good. If you know what you want to go to school for, go for it. If you want to be like a nurse or a teacher, even if it's going to be difficult because there can be a lack of teaching jobs depending on where you are, go for it. But if you don't know what you want to do, you shouldn't go to school outside of like a 2-year liberal arts degree, and even that's going to be overinflated and expensive. And I will say that guidance counselors make you feel like kind of a failure just because you're like, yeah, you know what, I don't know if I want to go to school anymore. And they're like, fuck you. You know, it's not bad to go and enter the workforce and try to, but you should have like somewhat of a plan. But they won't tell you that, and then you get older, like, wow, this was really stupid. But also part of it too is that people are dumb. We've been evolving technologically so quickly over the past, let's just even go 10 years. So many jobs were lost. Society still isn't educated on like fully about how much technology is going away. You go to even though you can go to a fast food place, you go like, well, not just everywhere, but you go to like if you can go to a supermarket and you see like self-checkouts everywhere, and you'll see like 8 self-checkouts, and they're like, well, how is technology taking away jobs? You go to the supermarket. Like, yeah, you don't think of it like that because it doesn't threaten your job, but these things are threatening a lot of people's jobs. And I think this hit so fast that nobody got time to like really respond to it. And so that's kind of where we're at now. And we just really didn't really respond to it particularly well, I don't think. That's the reality. And so when you're growing up, I think parents and teachers are probably trying to do what they think is right. But then, like, how do you react to such like a drastic market response change? I just don't see how you could.
School. And then I remember going to orientation day for university. They let you come in to see what university is like. And I walked in and I went to a lecture hall and I fell asleep. And I realized, like, I can't do this. There's no way I'm paying money to go do this shit. This is not for me, but the whole world is constantly telling me. So I ended up just joining the military instead. My mom stopped talking to me. You know,
really? That's fun.
And it was a tough period. Spent 2 years in the military. My third year, ended up leaving after that. And then had the money I had. Speaking to a lot of my friends from university, I saw how miserable they were. And 4 or 5 years later, what I ended up realizing is a lot of the stuff that I'd been forced to accept as being true, like you need to go to school, you'll be a failure, all this stuff, turned out to be bullshit. And I was angry for a long time. And then
I wonder, I mean, because I think that at that, I could see why they'd say that. They probably truly believed that. Like his parents, I doubt that. I mean, I guess I don't know them, but I imagine that, because that's my mom was that way too. But, you know, now, look at us now, buddy.
then I get to my latter years and, you know, and talking with my parents and understanding, what I realized wasn't that these people were trying to feed me a lie.
They just cared about you.
Exactly. They were trying to feed me what they thought was
Which
right.
is
it's
a
not,
lie.
Hold on.
Relax.
It's not that they were lying to me.
They didn't know they were lying.
Okay, exactly. So
That's not a lie. That's like misinformation, I guess you would say. But it's also, again, like it's a drastic change because of technology that people really aren't ready for or expecting.
Yes, that's why I'm angry. Because everything people believe is
breathe. Bring it down.
No, why bring it down?
Hold on.
Let's just relax.
I understand.
The reason that he needs to bring it down is because his assumptions about the situation that are going on are incorrect, or at the very least, they're contested by ABBA, and he just wants to be like, I know the answer. It's like, chill, like, you know, that annoying asshole in school that would when like the teachers asked a question, they wouldn't shut the fuck up, whether they were right or wrong. They're annoying, right? Sneako is being that person, but it's like, you're not necessarily, like, you could be right, but chill out. Let him make his point. Like, yeah, I used to be that fucking asshole too. I was very smart. I was a double honor student in school until I dropped out. Weird arc, yeah. But it's like, just listen. You know, if you can't, because people were like, oh, well, it's his ADHD. I have ADHD too. You want to know what I do when I feel? Because here's the thing: it's totally possible that the reason Sneako won't stop talking when somebody tries to make a point is because maybe he does actually have ADHD, like people were saying. So you know what I do? Because one of the things I have, my experience with ADHD, is that I very quickly forget points. I very quickly will forget a point. Sometimes. So a lot of times I sit down when I'm talking to somebody and I have a notepad open on my computer and I start typing down notes while I'm listening to what they're saying, so that I can kind of go like boom, 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 and I could respond to what they're saying in like real time, right? Or rather, I can listen to what they're saying, write it down, and then I can give a response later on. That's what I do.
Man, I understand your rage because I've been there. I just want you to hear me. Okay?
I hear you.
So when my parents are saying all this stuff, I'm realizing the intention that they came at me with, and it made me resent them a lot less because I understood the misconceptions that they were taught, right?
I understand that.
So once I realized that, it kind of hit me that a lot of people who are doing wrong things to me, or maybe the way that society's structured in some ways are doing wrong things to me, isn't necessarily because they have evil intentions. Sometimes
bro, that's obvious. That's some obvious stuff. I know.
He's just not listening, man. He's got to chill out. He just doesn't. He just doesn't listen.
That because everybody's brainwashed. It's not their fault they make no sense. They tell us to make no sense. So I'm trying to wake people the fuck up. Everything you believe in is a lie. The government doesn't care about you. School is a scam. All the fucking history books are lies. We need to wake up and stop letting them control us.
It's so funny because like this is like total leftist talking points. And I'm not even necessarily disagreeing. I just don't think that, I think that the way he thinks that these things are lies are in like, okay, it's so weird. Like when he says the government doesn't care about you, like, yeah, that's true. But individuals in the government probably do care about you. They also care about their self-interest as well. And it's kind of this machine that's like very much run on profit, especially because we're in a capitalist country. And I'm not saying like fucking communism would be better, but that's part of it, right?
School is a scam.
When we say school is a scam, like realistically speaking, school is still a good thing. Like school, like even like we'll go through like middle school, all like whatever, primary school. It's still a good thing. It's actually flawed, of course, like anything else, but it's still like overall good thing, right? When you say college, like college is a scam, but why is it a scam? It's a scam because it's so expensive for no reason, right? They will force you. Let's say you go to school to be like a nurse. Why do you need to have like more complex math? Well, it's because the school gets to make more money, right? Some the classes are so overly inflated, but they actually don't need to be. They're overly expensive, and the reason that they could do that is because this is the reason why schools are so expensive is because the government gives them unregulated subsidies. So you might have a school that has a subsidy on it, a government subsidy, and they're like, well, we're going to charge you. And like the schools around me, for instance, I only pay a third of the cost. Then the federal government and the local government, the state government pays for the other third, but it'll still cost you like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a semester. Right? So what do we do? Oh, how do we deal with that? What you do is you tell the government, say, you can charge whatever the fuck you want, but if you don't keep your costs in line, and most of those costs actually come from administrative costs, what you do is you say you're not getting subsidy. So all of a sudden, they're like, fuck, we want to charge a total of $10,000 and only have the student pay $3,300. But realistically speaking, because of our inflated administrative costs, it's actually more like $7,500, maybe $8,000. That's which would drastically reduce the cost for everybody, because it would reduce the cost for the individual going to the school, and then it would also reduce like the costs for people paying like federal and local income taxes, right? So these are like the ways in which like college is a scam. College is still something that can be very fruitful for a lot of people. It's just something that's like very difficult to operate through. So when you say like this is a lie, this is a lie, this is a lie, but you don't really have like an explored concept of why these things are a lie, it doesn't really make sense. Right? See, this is why you need to listen, and you need to like learn, and you need to find out why, how, in what way are these institutions corrupted, right? Because if you think about this, a lot of people, even in college, went to school online. That's a drastic reduction in the costs for a lot of different like materials, because you're not in a physical space. Like the electricity doesn't need to be on, et cetera, and they can pull more students in with less like physical infrastructure, like less schooling. And yet, why is it so expensive if you don't actually have to go? It doesn't make any sense. You know what else is a scam? School books. Why are school books so expensive? Why is it that every single year they change the book up, and all they do is rearrange it, and yet they're so expensive? Those TI-80 calculators. Those TI-80 calculators have technology where they could probably be worth about $5 now. You can get them from like a dollar store probably. But why are they $150? Because they are the only thing you are allowed to buy, right? These are the ways in which these institutions are scams. And the reason people still go to school is because a lot of people still need it to be successful. Not everybody should go to school. You should take a hard look at different trade jobs. Because of technology displacing jobs and driving down wages, there's a lot of jobs that will be basically phased out, like factory jobs, a lot of low skill labor. Very difficult to displace jobs like mechanics, plumber, HVAC. These are more intricate type of jobs. So you're probably going to have longevity engaging in those different trades. They'll beat your body up. But even if you're 30 years old and you've been an electrician since you've been 20 years old, and you're like, you know what? I want to change my job. You're going to have the money to change your job at 30. Because you made good money doing this job. You don't have to like engage in a way where this is forever, but you can get a good job and eventually move on from it and still have the technical skill, right? So these are the ways when we think about like why, this particular body is corrupt, this particular body is wrong, this particular body, you have to engage with why it's wrong and not just say it's wrong, because like this isn't a unique perspective. And I think Sneako thinks it's a unique perspective, right? But it's not. It's something that conservatives and progressives are screaming in different ways. Conservatives are screaming in a way where we need to have like less government regulation, and progressives are screaming in a way that they need to have more government regulation. And depending on the area, both of those things are, I would say, right to some extent, right? Like for instance, here's a really good way of where we need less government regulation. We have there's a formula shortage in the United States, right? But our FDA won't allow us to take formula from other countries, even like European countries that have better standards of care for for their food. They have better standards of care than ours. And so what ends up happening? This over government regulation causes a shortage of breast milk. Boom. So we need less government regulation in an area like that. On the flip side, when it comes to where we may need more government regulation is when it comes to healthcare, because there's exaggerated gouged prices for everything. Insulin is something that's like, my understanding is very easy to produce, and yet it's so expensive and a lot of people need it, right? And so there's different ways that we can operate in different capacities, and everybody's like kind of right, but not necessarily in every single order, right? So this is why you need to engage and then think about these critically, because you're not saying anything. Yes, that is true with the baby formula. I just want you to know that. So that's just like the thing which people need to understand, right? This is like something that people need to kind of understand. And it's not a super unique perspective that you're saying here, Sneako. A lot of people believe that, okay?
All the fucking history books are lies.
And like that's generally true too. Like the winner writes the history book, yeah.
We need to wake up and stop letting them control us. I'm not mad at my parents. I'm mad at the fucking system. I'm not mad at the dumb girl who believes in this nonsense. I'm mad at the people who brainwashed them in the first place. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than just the people in your circle. It's the whole thing. In control does not give a fuck about us, Abba.
I don't believe that. I don't
Name
believe
one
that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Hold on. I don't believe that. We have some right here locally in Montreal.
Locally.
Local is very important. He asked like, name one politician that cares about you. Generally speaking, politicians probably it's politicians are the same thing as like regular people. A local politician probably cares a lot more about their local community than some like federal politician does, right? When you get up that federal level, it's usually because you've been in the game for a long time. You're completely jaded by the system. Locally, people are probably care a lot more about you and who you are. The people in the system do care. They get jaded by the broken system, which is why we need to change like the system of government. But like, say, well, name one person, and then he's gonna. It sounds like Abba's gonna name like a local politics. Yeah, local politics here. Well, that's local. It's like, but it's what you're doing. You're always gonna shift the goalposts into a way that makes you always correct. And this is the problem with the way that Sneako engages in conversations.
Relax, man. I do a lot of stuff within the community that I live in. Okay, I'm involved with some people. We set up community centers. We set up stuff like that. Really important stuff. That's important to me.
Shit,
we work with government officials who help us get the funding. What I'm trying to tell you is I understand your displeasure. I understand the fact that you're like, man, the government's fucking up all this stuff. What I'm trying to tell you is that there are still people that you can work with that can do some change locally. What I think is, hold up.
And that's still really important. Locally is still very important. Like, so is federally, but like locally is very important. Like Ab is saying, that's how you get money to particular programs that you really believe in that can have profoundly positive impacts within your community. So like, why is it such a like, oh, that's just local? No, that's really important. And you not believing it's important is probably why you don't you don't really vote or engage with that. But like, just because you don't think something is important doesn't mean that it's not important.
Breathe. I think people are so terminally online that they look at these problems on the whole and they're looking at the canvas, not realizing there's a small picture right in front of them.
Okay.
If you spend so much time online trying to solve the world issues, what you end up realizing is you can do nothing because the problem is too expensive. But if most of us focus on the shit happening in our communities, there's a lot more that we can tangibly do to make a world a better.
Hold on, I just want to say, you heard that?
So give up.
Focus on the.
So give up. So here's listen again what Abba says.
What you end up realizing is you can do nothing because the problem is too expensive. But if most of us focus on.
I want you to understand why that is like the central way that Sneako engages in conversation. So Abba's making a point about how when you look at things in too broad of a spectrum, you're like, well, how we can't do anything because like, where do you go from there? When you build any project, let's say you for some reason are insane where you're going to build a car, right? If you just look at like, okay, the car, or let's do Legos because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about cars, right? If you just look at the picture, you can't make a goddamn thing. But when you open up the booklet and you're like, okay, let's start with making, we'll make a Lego car. You start with a tire, and then you make another tire. All of a sudden, you start putting this Lego piece together, the sculpture together. That's really what he's talking about, except for instead of one person collecting it all, it's a bunch of different people. So, like, you know, my community is creating, like, the car, or the tire, while your community is creating the door, and then we can slowly work on these things. But you notice when he says that it's, like, hopeless on the broad scale, or he says it's very difficult on the broad scale to change things, Sneako instantly says, so give up. Like, he thinks he has the answer before Abba has finished talking. This is the way that Sneako engages in these conversations, and that's why he's always getting kind of like caught out of like, oh, you know? But it's like, listen.
On the shit happen in our communities. There's a lot more that we can tangibly do to make a world a better place. And I'm just gonna finish on this last point. Okay, I was very fortunate that when I was a young man, I had somebody who wanted to help me at a really pivotal point in my life. Okay, somebody who worked in the government. Now, when this person helped me, they didn't understand the kind of influence I would later have later on them. But they unintentionally, by focusing on their community, helped breed somebody who in the future can help people on a larger scale. I think too many people are so busy, like, oh my God, there's a typhoon in Taiwan. Oh my God, Sri Lanka is going underwater. There's riots in Tibet. All this stuff. It's like, bro, you don't even know what's happening across the street. You ain't been to your local community center to volunteer for 1 hour. People are spending so much time consuming everything everywhere, they forgot to just be in their own fucking house. So go deal with your family. That's why Jordan Peterson says, go clean your fucking room, okay? They're saying these things because we're always taking a global approach to everything, when really you just got to slow some things down. So that's my
But from the top, they're trying to ruin the home. Divorce rates are at an all-time high. They're telling us to stay inside. Even if we like go clean up the fucking trash on a beach, then they tell you to quarantine. Then they tell you to stay inside. Ultimately, like, yes, you could do local stuff, but the top.
So here's the thing: how are they trying to ruin the home?
Everything when really
rates are at an all-time high. They're telling us to stay inside. From the top, they're trying to ruin the home.
So, like, this is the thing. How are they, who is they, trying to ruin the home? This is something like, this is the question that needs to be asked, right? How are they doing it? I'm not saying that it's not being ruined. So if you said, how are they ruining the home? I'd say nobody is ruining the home. What ends up happening here is that a lot of times, one of the biggest flaws of the government is that they think they know what the fuck they're talking about. So when it comes to they ruining the home, what we have here is an expansion of welfare into different communities has unintentionally hurt different aspects. And I'm going to explain to you why, because you're going to be like, some people are going to be like, no, welfare is good. It is good. We need welfare programs. Yeah, it's the they, thems, right? Okay, here's the thing. With our current welfare system, if you live in a community that has like a fairly robust local economy where you can get a job very easily, our current welfare system is going to treat you just fine. It's mostly just going to lay you over for a little while, get you on your feet, make it so you don't fall through the cracks, and then hopefully get back into the system working and being somebody who's productive. In a poorer area, that doesn't really happen. So it keeps people dependent on the welfare system, and it doesn't allow them to go get a job. Or in a lot of cases, because if you get a job, you can lose your welfare, and it can be incredibly hard to get back onto your welfare. And this is one of the really big problems with our current welfare system. And it's not that they are doing this, but when you have a welfare system that says, if you have a kid out of wedlock, we'll give you more money, that reduces the incentive to get married and have a baby, right? And so even if you intend to stay together, you're not married and you have a baby together. And just the concept of marriage is a psychological process of committing to something that makes you more likely to stay within a relationship, right? I don't remember the exact psychological thing, but I can give you like a reference. And this is something that people, I remember, so you can study in school. This is something that I remember hearing, right? So they did an experiment where they did two paintings. There was two groups and they got to choose between two paintings. Group number one, you have to choose between A and B. Group number two, A and B. Group number one, though, is very distinct because after they choose, 2 weeks later, they get to change their painting choice. They found that the people within the second group who didn't get the option to change their painting after the fact were happier with their decision because they made a decision that like they had to, like, this is the decision and we're good. And mentally you check out and you move forward. This is kind of like the way that marriage will work. It's like, okay, and of course you can get divorced, but that's the concept. So if you don't get married, if you have a system that's not encouraging you to get married, you have a system that's not encouraging you to stay with your family, right? So this is one of the factors. And I absolutely believe that a poor distribution of wealth is another factor as well, right? People are angrier because they have less of the ability to live. And with technology displacing jobs and driving down wages, we need to come up with a new solution, right? And that's why I'm a universal basic income guy.
Divorce rates are at an all-time high. They're telling us to stay inside. Even if we like go clean
up. Nobody's really telling us to stay. By the way, nobody's telling us to stay inside anymore. Like this happened. This is pretty much over. Like nobody's really like, yeah, you got to stay inside. Nobody's really telling anybody. I don't know. I haven't seen anybody that's being told to stay inside here. So I don't know. Is it still happening? Am I just wrong? Because I haven't had this problem at all. I go out without a mask. We're all set. I haven't really dealt with this with this issue whatsoever.
Up the fucking trash on a beach, then they tell you to quarantine, then they tell you to stay inside. Ultimately, like, yes, you can do local stuff, but the top powers have more control. And like, yeah, okay, your local politicians, blah blah blah, the comptroller of Montreal, sure, but they don't have any power in the large scale. The people who control this the most have all of the money. Like the local stuff going on, like.
So then, how would you deal with that? By trying to get the money out of their hands? Like Sneako is so close to being like a fucking communist. I guarantee you, 2 years from now, this motherfucker is going to be like an anarcho fucking communist. It's going to be insane.
It has a minor effect on what's really happening, and I'm pissed off.
Well, yeah, because we live in a society of 330 million people. There's not a whole lot that an individual can like seriously do, which is why you have to do like small scale change. And when you completely destroy people's perspectives and make them think that nothing they do matters, and of course you're not going to get small like changes done whatsoever. Historically we were able to give rights to marginalized group through people organizing and getting together. I mean, that's proof that we can change things. And yet somehow, because you hate like it seems like you're not a particular fan of LGBTQ community, you don't realize that like that community alone has made significant progress over the past few years. You can say that there's flaws with some of the people going around saying that they identify as an elephant. Of course I do as well, though I do identify as an elephant because I'm obese. But like realistically speaking, you have to understand that like progress can be made. We've seen it in real time.
That the top people control us more than anything, and people don't realize that. So I'm trying to talk to the people on the stream and tell them what's actually happening, because people are like, well, the mayor of Wisconsin, bro, who gives a fuck? They don't have any power.
Okay.
Here's my challenge to you. Go get involved in local initiatives, whether it be your community center. Go do some of that shit. Okay. Yeah. Go work with those kids who are at risk. Go do that. Stream it, film it. I don't care what you got to do. Get permission to whatever. Do it for a short period of time, and then come talk to me. And if you really felt nothing about that, if you really felt like you didn't influence none of these motherfuckers' lives, or didn't do something for you, or you didn't feel like it didn't matter after that, then I'll concede.
See, now you're doing it not because it's actually helping the global problem. You're helping it so that you feel good about yourself for volunteering. I did a good thing.
Sneako. Okay, so ABBA said, "Hey, Sneako, you should go try to change the world, one brick at a time. Build a house one brick at a time." And now, I just want you to understand, Sneako has decided that that's just virtue signaling. There is nothing you or anybody will ever do in their lives that it will be truly, truly selfless. When you do a nice thing for somebody, when I do a nice thing for somebody, part of the reason is because doing nice things for people makes me feel good. Because I'm a decent person. I don't say I'm an amazing person, but I'm decent. And if you feel the same way, you're a decent person. When a guy walks up to me, he's like, "Yo, bro, I need $5." I feel good by giving him $5, right? That's not virtue signaling. You just happen to have been raised properly. You were raised correctly. So you like doing good things for people. That is the value of a strong home, which you are saying you think we need to bring back. But this is how it manifests, is your parents teaching you that doing good things will make you feel good. That's what it is. That's how these things work. It's just interesting that you don't seem to understand that.
Today, the problem doesn't change. We're all brainwashed. Yes, you feel good because you got a volunteer sticker and you made some soup for homeless people.
So, dude, like, you know that the homeless people are happy when people, like, this is the thing. You got a volunteer sticker for helping homeless people. You helped people eat. Like, what? That's the positive impact. Like, what the fuck?
But the shit is still happening. They're taking more and more control. And what they're going to do is tell us to stay inside again. Everyone's going to be scared, and we're all going to be shaming each other, and they're going to keep trying to ruin the home by making these women unwifeable and making the men sad. There's a bigger problem going.
So you mean making the men and the women undateable, right? It's not just one of them. But
Going on. Then soup for homeless people?
I can't speak to what you've experienced. I'm going to just share one personal thing. That's it. I've had the luxury of mentoring somebody who, from suicide attempts, has gotten their life back together. They still struggle, but we keep in touch and we go through that process. Little things like that.
That's good shit, man.
Do I do this for me? I'm sure some portion of it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But I can't deny that I'm so happy just for them. Even if I never got to see them again, even if I didn't get any updates, just knowing that they're good, that I think is important. I think community, helping others. To me, there's just nothing. YouTube is cool because in a sense I get to make content and people message me and that's great, but it doesn't feel nearly as intimate or as impactful as the people.
It doesn't feel. You're talking about like how you feel, but it does not solve the bigger problem that's going on.
No, but that you can't. There's 7 billion people in the world. What is your expectation? I don't understand it. I really just don't understand. Like, what is the expectation here? What do you think one person can really do?
And it makes you feel good that you mentor people, stuff like that. But that's one person compared to all the population that's getting brainwashed every single day.
And imagine if every one of us tried to make an effort to help one or two people.
Sure.
You're looking at it as like, I'm trying to fix the world. Nico, you can't fix the world. I can wait as many people as possible. You think you?
The problem is that and maybe this is just because he doesn't really talk, but I've never heard Sneako say what we could do about it. This is the problem. It's not like he's like, yeah, this is the problem in the world. What do we do about it? He just keeps going. And maybe there's something there. Maybe that he does tell other people, but in my conversation, he made zero effort to try to explain. And I tried to explain, right? I try to explain, like, what do I think we could do to change, like, particular systems, right? I talk about that all the time. But, like, that's the problem. So you're like, we have this problem. Yeah, we know. Everybody knows that. Everybody's been talking about that. Everybody you talk to online is always talking about these problems. That's all they fucking talk about, all right? That's all we all talk about. What can we do? What's the problem? What can we do to change the problem? Right? That's the thing. But we know the problem already. It's about what do we do to change the fucking issue. And like that's what it really boils down to.
You can, and one day you're gonna realize you can't fix it.
I got a billion views on TikTok.
It's okay. Hold on. I'm gonna finish. And you're.
Sorry, what did he say?
Nico, you can't fix the world. I can
wait as many people as possible.
You think you can, and you're convinced you can, and listen, maybe if you're able to do it, then I'm wrong and you were right all along. I would much rather convince people to just take one step rather than tell them wake up tomorrow and run a marathon. My goal is simply like help the people around you. Take care of your family, take care of friends, do whatever you can. And if you could do at least that much, then if you got enough, help more people.
That sounds good. But wait till the next pandemic when we can't even go to the shelter because we got to stay inside. When they tell us to quarantine and we can't even mentor the kid because then you're at risk and we got to stop the spread.
I find it really interesting that there's always a reason not to fucking like help people. It's like, yeah, I would help somebody, but then the government is going to ruin everything. Well, bro, it sounds like you don't really. It sounds like you're just making excuses not to do fucking anything in your community and not help out. Just say like, "Hey, I don't give a fuck. I'm lazy." Like, that's fine. You know what I mean? Just be honest about it. That's what it sounds like here, though.
They don't want us to do that.
Okay.
There's something bigger going on. They control all the people like that. Everybody gets manipulated by their phone in a second. So what we can do, the power we have on social media, is to tell them the truth so people wake the fuck up. You're being lied to. The whole system is designed to make you fail.
Well, I don't know why I don't think that that's true at all. I don't think the system is designed to make you fail. I would need to explore that concept. We struggle to have success in the system because I think of the resources being funneled to the top. But the concept that we're designed for us to fail, I don't know how I feel about that. I would need to give like an example. What does he mean by that?
To me, that feels better than like, giving a homeless guy some soup. That's one guy versus like people like, oh my God, I didn't realize this.
Okay.
Okay.
I get that. And I feel like if you feel like that stuff is not valuable, then
it is valuable. It is valuable, but then they're going to tell you to stay inside and you can't do that shit no more.
Hey man, this pandemic stuff. But I'll leave on this note.
It's going to happen again.
This is my last point. To anybody listening, Sneako, whoever it might be, if you guys get the opportunity, maybe it's not just giving soup to some random person, but if you guys have something you can do consistently and try to help out within your own communities, I'd just volunteer to do it. I know it sounds crazy. I know you're like, why would I take the time to do it?
It doesn't sound crazy, but
I think there's nothing wrong with doing it for yourself. I don't care. I don't give a fuck if people donate $100,000 because it makes them feel good. If you help out people with that $100,000, the people you help out don't give a fuck if you did it because it feels good or whatever. True. I'm not one of these people who believe that altruism has to be done because you're a fucking saint. Help people if you can. And if you did it, fantastic. I'm not going to question the reasons why. If you want to do it because it makes you feel better, I don't give a fuck. The kid and the people you're going to help are going to be grateful regardless. So if you guys get an opportunity, be it your friends, be it your family, just have opportunity to support the people around you. That's what I would encourage, because not only is it tangible, but you're going to see the progress of the little things that you do. And if you get to be good at that and you got that down pat, then maybe expand beyond that, as some of my friends do within our community. And I think that shit is meaningful, even if you don't, Sneako.
You don't think that you're ignoring a bigger problem to some extent by taking that approach?
It's not ignoring a bigger problem. It's just like it's just trying to solve things one problem at a time. He keeps calling it ignoring a bigger problem. I just don't think that that's like a realistic like perspective to have here.
I don't think so. I think what you're doing in these kind of circumstances is you're focusing on what's in front of you and what matters. You just think that what matters is different from me, and we can agree to disagree.
No, I agree that matters too, but I think that taking that approach is a smaller impact than what we can do with the platforms we have. We can wake people the fuck up, man.
I just want you to appreciate. Earlier we spoke, and I said, you don't need to be rich to be happy. And you semi-agree, but you try to encourage everybody to be rich. Your mindset translates directly to this. I'm saying, guys, help on a small scale. You don't have to be rich. You guys can do it on your whatever you got, okay? And you're saying, get big. I'm just saying, not everyone's going to be able to get big, and not everyone needs to. Not everyone's got the same size shoulders.
That doesn't everybody handles. People at the top get to fly all over, do whatever the fuck they want, while we just give soup to one homeless guy, and they live the life that they want, and they control and manipulate us to the extent that we have no idea about.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess that pisses. See, it's so interesting that like what he was just saying there. There's another part we're gonna watch it. It's so interesting what he ended off saying there. See, doesn't it piss you off that there are people at the top that get to have like more fun in their life basically because they have more money, they have more freedom? Absolutely. What do we do about it? Some kind of like wealth redistribution, obviously. Something that Sneako never talks about, but like or at least I haven't heard him. Anyway. It's so interesting because I think a lot of the reason why people are unhappy is because they can see somebody else doing really well on social media. If you live in an area and everybody's like pretty poor and you don't go outside of that area, you're probably going to be happier than if you open up your phone and see like fucking Kim Kardashian with 7 swimming pools. It's one of those ways. It's like a psychological process where people are like, oh, fuck, like comparatively, I'm not doing well. And they feel like not only are they frustrated because they're working harder, but then they also feel like that's what they want. And I'm not saying you shouldn't want that thing. But like, it's funny. That's one of the ways that social media invades our minds.
This is something I noticed when I listened to your conversation with Jadion, and I enjoyed it because I think you guys are very good in contrast. But do you agree with this? Do you believe that perception is reality?
Yeah.
Okay. When I watch you speak, you know what I think? I think that you believe that your perception is reality, and that you're convinced that the way that you view the world sometimes is so accurate that irrespective of what other people are saying, you're like, no, I already know. Which is why I think at one point during your conversation with Jadion, Gideon said to you, yo, before the person's even done speaking, you're like,
You say you're not listening, Sneako.
I'm listening.
No, you're not. You're not listening. Sneako, you already have what you want to say in your mind, and you literally said this in your video. I've literally heard you say this clip. You say you don't listen to what people say. You go on and assume what they're gonna say. Bro, you know how many clips on TikToks I've seen where you assume what the girl was gonna say, but then she said something different. You're like,
that happened to me almost the entire time. Let me guess, you've been married for 8 years and you've been monogamous for this many years. And I was like, no, I've been monogamous for a year and I've been married for 8 months. Like, we used to be in an open relationship. Oh, okay. And then he just continues to keep going. It's kind of almost like it's something that happens constantly, right? It's something that like constantly happens where there's a lot of people who really want to debate online and they have like a script. They have a script of what they want to say. And so, like, it doesn't matter what you say. They're going to keep you in the script because they really don't know what the fuck they're talking about outside of that script. And this is one of those instances here where it's like like a lot of other people do. And I just want you to understand, like, this isn't like a unique thing that Sneako does. He has a script for what he wants to say, what he thinks, what he believes, and he doesn't listen to other people when they're talking because he thinks he knows everything that he's talking about. Right? He just lacks like humility.
oh shit, I was not expecting that.
and when he called you on that, you said, yeah, because I already know what they're going to say. And 95% of the time, I'm right. And then Gideon comes back to you and he says, no, you don't actually know what they're going to say. You were wrong a few times. Me and hearing you, a lot of your conversations, I noticed it's the same thing when you had your conversation with Don. It's like, I think you're not listening nearly as well as you believe you are. And as a result, when you're having these conversations with these people, it feels very disconjointed. It feels disconnected. And I think there's one thing that you said that I thought was really peculiar. I think Gideon says, you got 2 ears, one mouth, speak less, listen more. And your response was, but we're streamers, which made me laugh.
You have 2 ears and one mouth. Listen more, speak less.
True.
Okay, we're streamers. We talk for a living.
Yeah, we talk for a living and stuff like that. Like, that's obvious. But you can let the
But when you're doing reactions, you also listen for a living. So it's just saying. What the hell am I supposed to do here?
person
If we listen
finish
for
what
you,
they're
we're not streaming.
Bro, but you know, like, I mean, I'm not like.
I think streaming is dope. I think you get up online, you talk for hours, you go through a bunch of stuff. But because you speak at such lengths and you don't have nearly as much time to take in information, sometimes you're not making much sense.
Okay. I had this series. You've seen the 1 Minute Podcast before, right, Abba?
Yep.
I have interviewed people in the street. You've done street interviews for a long time too. The general realization that I've come to from interviewing people, and I listen to so many people. Like every 1 Minute Podcast I do it once a week is like 3 hours long. And I talk to so many normies getting off the train every single day. I don't interrupt them. I let them talk. After years of doing it, years of street interviews before that, what I've come to realize is most people don't think.
So here's the thing. Most people in like the real world probably aren't thinking critically about anything. It's a luxury to be able to critically think about every like little nuance, everything, right? People that are getting up and they're going their day-to-days, they're working like their 9 to 5s, they're working like their 40, 50, 60 hours a week. Like, yeah, they're not going to critically engage with something that you care about because they have other interests, right? Like they're working on their lives to make themselves happy. They're already contributing to society by working. So you have to understand that when you're talking to something that like streams online, that even if they're dumb, they probably at least have an interest in what they're talking about more than other people in a way that's like a little bit more explored. So like you should be listening to everybody and actually listening, because it suggests to me that if you just like categorize them, you're not actually listening to them. But you should understand that when you talk to like other people, other streamers, like this is probably what they're doing because they have the luxury to just sit down and think about this shit.
Most people just believe what they're told. Most people accept the reality that's in front of them. And the reason why I think that I can predict people quickly is the general idea that people don't...
You can't. This is the problem. Like, you failed emphatically at your predictions of me like the entire time. Maybe he gets it right every other time. I don't really know what to tell you. But
people trust the elites too much. People trust what they're told too much. And they put faith into people who have power. And you shouldn't, because they don't care about you. So everyone is virtue signaling. Everybody has this false empathy. Everyone has a false idea. And
So what, do you care about people? Like, what makes you so unique thinking that you're not virtue signaling? Like, I'm not saying that you are. I just think that you're just kind of rambling. But like, why do you feel like you're so unique? I mean, you even suggested that Abba was a virtue signaler because he goes and helps people in his local community. So like, you have very unrealistic expectations for doing anything in a genuine way.
My conversation with Gideon was annoying because he's defending people that are silencing him. He got banned on Twitch and he's still defending the platform that banned him. Like, why are they censoring him?
Well, he was defending a Pokemon, I think, saying that she's not a bad person.
People never think about that. Like,
and yeah, because like I like Gene a lot. He's a really good guy, but because he basically engaged in like a hate raid. Like, I would be pissed too. But like, he sent a bunch of people over to harass Pokemon, so they're just like setting an extreme example. Like, I think that sometimes when people do, when you get punished, you deserve it. You know, I got banned off TikTok. I'm not thrilled about it. I think it was a little extreme, maybe like a week ban, not a fucking perma ban, because it was like my first actual, you know, real punishment. But it's just life, brother. I still made a mistake. You know what I mean? And you can either complain about it constantly and scream at the system, and nobody will actually truly listen to you, or you can do actually something. You can actually try to do something about it and change as a person and become better. And that's all you can really do.
I talked with Destiny, another debater. He got banned on Twitch too. And he's like, well, I said some bad things. I'm like, you should be fighting against that. Freedom of speech is dead. You know what they promote on Twitch? Hot tub streamers.
He's still able to talk though on YouTube. So it's a good thing that we have like YouTube as an alternative. Like, yeah, that's shitty. And it's not that he's like, it's not that he rolled over and took it, but it's like, what can you really do? Well, he can move to YouTube. It really just show Twitch that they're slowly dying. At least that's my opinion.
Simp behavior. They want to have men just go and feeding all their money to this platform and taking away their power.
I think you're conflating two things. I think you could look at Twitch and say they do some fucked up shit, and also recognize the ways in which your behavior contributes to a negative situation. This is just like any relationship that you have. You could say that your partner cheated on you and that they were fucked up in that relation. You could also look at your own behavior within that relationship and say, you know what, I was neglectful. I didn't listen to my partner. I didn't treat them really well. Okay. Two things can be true at the same time. Jadian could have been wronged by Twitch, and Jadian may felt that he owed Pokimane.
Okay, why do you think
didn't even finish?
Things can be true.
Why do you think he felt like he owed Pokimane an apology?
Because he harassed Pokimane. I know that people don't like girls online, but like that's what happened. And I don't think that he meant to do it in like an antagonist or in like a shitty way. I don't think Gideon was like, I can't wait to fuck. I think that he was just being like he was going a little too far with the trolling and took it a little too far, you know, and that's what happened. But like, still, you could be like, yeah, you know what? I shouldn't have fucking harassed her for like existing, which is something that like I respect about Gideon. Like, hey, you fucking man, make mistakes. You know, he's part of like a little bit of an edgier community. I get it. Shit happens, you know. But like, why don't you think that he does? Like, what's the expectation here? You know, like what should we never apologize when we make mistakes?
That's for Jadian to know.
But
that's none of my business.
What do you think?
To be honest with you, I didn't even look up the situation that deeply. So I don't know I don't know what exactly he said. I know he said some stuff off the cuff and that she felt I don't know that. So I'm not going to speak on that. But as a man, if I say something about somebody else and I don't like what I said and I said it publicly, I'll apologize publicly. Not that's because fair. Somebody else told me, not because YouTube's breathing down my neck, because I feel like I did something wrong. Part of being a man is being accountable to yourself. And that means that you showcase that accountability outwardly. So if I say something about you, right, even if you don't call me out, even if you don't demand an apology, I'm going to still come out and say, you know what, yo, last week I fucked up, right? I was talking about Sneako and I said some shit that now I think is foul. Even if you're like, yo, it's not necessary, I'll still apologize because it's in me. You get what I'm trying to say? I think it's very great for so many people to look at themselves and be like, I was wrong, and we need more of that because too many people get up on these platforms and always talk about others. Oh, women are trash, women are trash. Nigga, you live in your mom's basement and you ain't showered in a week. Yeah. What's wrong with you? Yeah, nobody wants to. Everybody's talking about others. Oh, the other gender's the problem. Oh, they're the reason why I don't get it. No, it's you most of the time. 95% of the time, you're the problem. That's why I will not get on anybody who gets up on here and says, you know what, this is why I fucked up. And I want to hold that. You get what I'm saying? It's too much everyone else. It's not enough looking inward. So that's what I would say about that.
I agree. Chad is saying that you're kind of you ride the fence a little bit.
Well, you don't really agree. You kind of just disagree. You think that women are like exclusively the problem here. What are you talking about? Like, I mean, maybe he agreed. Well, I'm just struggling with that one because that was almost in reverse of what you're saying. It seems like what you're saying is like don't apologize at any stake, regardless, right? Because he's criticizing Gideon. And then you basically blame women for like a lot of the issues in society, or at least when it comes to man-woman engagements. So where do you agree with what with Ab said? What do you agree with?
I think Playback does the same thing. I think a lot of commentary channels, they want to go red pill, and they decide to take, like, if they make one red pill video, they'll balance it out by doing like a woke video in turn so that you have more mass appeal. Do you think that's what you do?
What? I don't think that's what I watch. Admin preach. I like their content. They're cool guys, man. I feel like there was some of like I feel like they're genuine dudes that they're just fucking like they're talking their fucking shit, man. They're speaking their mind. I think they're being very genuine about it. Like even if I disagree, I don't think that they do that at all. I think that they just have perspectives on things, popular topics, and it just doesn't align with like what you would agree with, like one ideology. So I don't know what the fuck you're on about.
No, but why do you think that's what we do? Why do you think that we're doing that?
To get a wider audience and so that you don't get canceled.
Right. I understand the intention that you're putting behind. I understand like the mentality. Why do you think that we're doing it? What have you seen from us that convinces you that we're being disingenuous?
I don't know about disingenuous, but yeah, look.
Well, that is what you're insinuating.
Yeah, 100%.
Why do you think that?
He's insinuating that.
Maybe it's not intentionally disingenuous, but maybe you are trying to appeal to everybody, and you're
What's an
trying
example?
to, like, it might be like, red pill is just the truth.
What's an example?
Like, I feel like there's no doubt in my mind that what's really going on, about the gender war that's going on, about the spiritual warfare. About
So I just want you guys to understand this. This is a common Sneako tactic. He has no answer to the question, like, what example do you have of me doing the thing you're claiming? I don't know. He doesn't have anything. That's a problem. This is what he does to everybody. He doesn't know anybody's, and you don't have to know everybody's content. But like, if you have no specific examples of virtue signaling, then stop saying that, because you're being really lazy. I mean, it's not. You have no fucking example of anything that's being said. You're like, yeah, I think you're being disingenuous because you don't agree with me. Oh, okay. Do you think that maybe some people just like? I don't think Sneako's being disingenuous. I don't think that he has a factual foundation for the things that he believes in. I think he's completely. I just think he's an angry kid. But like, I mean, that doesn't mean that he's virtue signaling. Like, do you know how to differentiate these things between differences in opinion versus like what virtue signaling is?
What's really happening in the world, and then you'll make some videos that kind of like tote the line.
Like what?
You see what I'm saying? And playback, like I talked to Agent, and like whenever I say that, like they'll make a red pill video and then immediately make a woke video, and then he laughed when I said that. Which if they laugh, then that's how I know it's true.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a wild reach. But
If you laugh, I know it's true. Okay, incredible. I love the. I like the logic there. Okay, if they do like a thing that a person does, I know that whatever I think is right. Oh, okay, I agree. That's how I agree with that. I agree with that too.
You're saying, I would say to you, maybe I don't understand this. Why is it that because I agree with some of what you say, because I don't agree with everything that you say, I'm inherently disingenuous, or I'm coming at this from like I'm trying to appeal to a group?
Well, at the same time, I'm behind. I need to catch up on your videos. But what's your take on the manosphere?
Okay.
Whoa, there we go. Classic Sneako. Move on to the next topic. Hey, why do you think I'm being disingenuous? Oh, I don't look at your content, so I really don't have an answer for this because I don't really have a foundation for what I'm believing. Can we talk about something else? Very Sneako. Very Sneako-esque.
Hypothetically, even if it's not me, all right, let's say you're not talking about me. Let's say you're talking about playback.
Yeah.
Is it not possible that playback agrees with certain things within the red pill community, but not everything?
That's fair.
Maybe I think a lot of people are brainwashed and people don't want to fully agree with someone because it's provocative and because you come off aggressive. So this is a general take I hear from a lot of people who watch my videos or watch Fresh and Fit of the Manosphere stuff. Andrew Tate, any of that, they'll say like, oh, I agree with some things, but not everything. But
Well, that's just people. Most people aren't one person. Just so you guys know, we have a lot of different people. If everybody was the same, we wouldn't have these problems. Everybody would agree on everything.
in my opinion, it's just the genuine. How often do you hear that? I agree with some.
Like, well, I'm always right. So that means if you disagree with me, you have to be wrong. That's the logic he's engaging with. You can't engage with that logic. That's like super ego driven
stuff, but not everything.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Because it's just people's way, I think, of inserting their opinion, and it's just
Okay. Wow. Great point.
Okay. So here's a hypothetical. All right.
Okay.
I am not a religious person whatsoever. However, I do think there's some aspects of religion I think are really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be it the idea of that they formulate good communities, that they commune everybody together for Sunday church, just so people spend time together, that they give people a set of certain values, be it like...
I mean, like one of the values of strong family values. I think that's great. Yeah. But, I'm not a big fan of the hating gay people, right? So that's where... I tend to agree with that. I grew up in a more religious space. So yeah, I can agree with this. Yeah.
Love your neighbor, this and that. But when they talk about shit like stoning gay people, I'm like, maybe you lose me.
Okay.
And when they talk about certain shit like, you can't fuck before marriage, maybe you lose me. Is it not possible that I see agreeing with certain aspects? Well, I think most of life is a middle ground.
Okay. Do you think that there's a gender war going on?
No.
Well, no.
What? What is I wonder what that means. Do I think that there's men and women? No, I don't. I think that I think that every so often, I think online there's a gender war going on between children who give a fuck about that. Oh, kill all men. Oh, fuck all women. Blah, blah, blah. It's just childish. Like, we're beyond that. There's no online gender war. Most people in the real world, if you go outside, they don't give a fuck about any of this shit. Nobody fucking cares. Like, not in America. I at least not from what I've seen, from going outside, working a real job for 10 years, where I interacted with a lot of different people. What am I doing here? What was my character going to smack her ass? Like, what the fuck's happening here? Sorry. I punch her? But anyway, no, I don't.
No, hold on. We switching topics right now. Can we not just stick to this before we go to something else?
I agree with what you're saying.
Okay. So then let's go back, because you initially started this with, you felt like me, Playback, a couple other groups of people were being maybe a bit disingenuous because we were trying to appeal to the mainstream. I guess the point I'm trying to relate to you is that me having been part of the pickup artist community when I was coming in as a young man, and me learning from a lot of that stuff, there was a lot from that I could take that was helpful. And so I always repeat this stuff. And if you go through my videos, you'll see I repeat a lot of the same shit. I never said the pick community is perfect. I said some of the shit that they taught me is fantastic. And I even repeat a lot of that stuff. But it's not because I repeat some of that stuff.
Teach you how to pick up girls. I can teach you how to be confident, you know?
That stuff that I think everything is wonderful. And most of the folks who I looked up to in the pickup artist community when I was there at like age 19, 20, they grew out of it, and they tell you in later years, oh, I changed my mind about certain things because life experience, it makes me realize that certain things that I believed when I was younger no longer apply. I'm just saying the same could apply for a lot of other folks in regards to most things, be it the way you view voting, the way you view women. Like the way I view women at 18 is not the way that I view women at 32.
True.
But have stuff you believe in, but don't make the stuff that you believe in consume you in that sense. And there's a lot of stuff they talk about reflection and pondering that you realize like, oh, okay, there's a certain sense of like, as you get older, and this is true for most people, and you're going to go through it yourself, you're going to have a better view of yourself. Almost like you're seeing yourself in the third person. You know how you play video games first person shooting all the time?
Yeah. You know, it's so funny because like when I was every year since I was like 20 up until like 25 or even 26, I was like, wow, I was really dumb last year. And I'm still like learning and growing, but it's like, you know what I mean? But I was like, wow, I'm really dumb last year. It takes a while. Like I truly like you really have to wait till your brain is fully developed to actually have, you know, to really. I don't think anybody is self-aware. Until they probably get to 25 and actually start exploring the world. I certainly wasn't, and I don't think that's a unique experience. And you're probably like, no, Papa God, I know everything. You don't know shit. It takes you a really long time to understand these things.
Playing a third-person shooter is completely different because now you got your whole body in frame. You see what it looks like when you crouch. I think as human beings, we gain more of that perspective as we get older in life if we're reflective enough.
What's the vinyl?
And what I used to believe at 21, I no longer believe now at 32, just because life's experiences and my own reflections realize like that's not true at all.
Maybe
like,
it's because you become more sedentary as you've gotten older. Like maybe it's because it's like you become less of that aggressive man that you were at 21. Like right now, I'm all about my testosterone balls, manosphere shit. And then maybe you're just 32 and you're like, man, let me settle down.
Oh, okay.
You like fucking Sneako?
We all do, yeah.
You like fucking you, pussy?
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that shit gets old.
It's true.
No.
100%. Bro, the best sex you'll ever have in your life is with like one person. I'm just telling you, right? I'm not saying that the desire to fuck around goes away, but like when the best sex you're ever going to have is when you're like with somebody that you're sexually compatible with and you keep getting more familiar with them. The best sex I've ever had was with my wife when we first started dating. The best sex I've ever had now is my wife now. It has just gotten better every time because you get more comfortable with them, especially if you're into some fucking wild shit. You get more comfortable. You learn each other's boundaries better. You know, you learn new things about them. You're always sexually exploring. That's always how it's gonna happen, bro. It's cool to put some notches under your belt, but it does get old. It gets like meaningless. You know, like you realize like, damn, I'm fucking another girl, but like the pussy's not that good. It's just like it's just a notch under the belt, and it gets boring. You know, it just gets fucking dumb and boring.
100%.
Nah.
100%. And I could point to hundreds of players who are online right now who have videos of them telling you new pussy gets old.
Yeah.
In fact, how about I tell you this one? This is something even Andrew Tate says. This is something even Andrew Tate says. All right.
What the hell is this?
Sex becomes overrated after time.
No, it's overrated now.
Yeah. He says new pussy's like.
Yeah, but you got to experience fucking around first. Yeah, like that's true.
That is.
Because you get used to it. It becomes like when you eat the same food over and over again, it becomes boring. What? That's why you get new. That's why you get new pussies. So you spice it up.
No. You need to experience like fucking around to get it out of your system. But then you'll realize once you find somebody that you like really you create a deep emotional bond with, that sex is never gonna. That's always gonna be the best sex you'll ever have. You know. So.
Or keep upgrading.
But guess what? After you've had enough new pussy, there is no more new pussy.
There's always
no. You think that after you've had a few dimes, you realize dimes ain't nothing. After you've had some baddies, you realize baddies ain't nothing.
Yeah, true.
So why do
you think so many of these dudes, as they get older in life, they stop talking about this shit nearly as much?
Because they get older and they're less testosterone.
It's not even that. It's you realize like, bruv, the payout ain't worth the work in.
Because you get tired. You get older. You don't have as much energy. You get.
It's like even if you had the energy, you're not, because it's not worth the time. You know, there's a video.
Well, as you get older, you'll usually have more money, so you won't have to put in as much energy. So. You know, why does he always go every single time? Like he doesn't really know what to say. Like he says it as a point, like this weird mocking point. It just comes off as like really dumb.
Video, and like maybe you don't give a fuck about his opinion, but
no, I do.
I thought it was great. It's one with Shaquille O'Neal. He talks about his divorce with his first wife, and he's like talking about like how he was fucking left, right, center, and she was giving him kids. And at one point during this period, he got caught cheating, and ended up fucking up the marriage. They get divorced, and now Shaq is, I think, closer to 50. And he says something that I thought was so telling. He says, looking back now, I realized like I was the one who fucked most of that up. And you can pull up the clip later if you ever get a chance. I'll send it to you on Discord. But he says, the most joyous moments of my life were coming home and then seeing all my kids around and then getting to spend time with them. And that divorce, going through that whole process, that really stole from me like what I realized was my biggest joy.
Damn.
I spend time with my nieces now. I spend time with my mom, taking her out to dinner, showing her good stuff. And I realize like that's the stuff that matters for me.
Bro, that shit's fucking speaking to me because it's so great. Bro, let me just tell you, dude. Like, I know I'm overweight. I understand that. You're like, yeah, bro, I used to fuck around so much. I used to have a fucking playbook for me. I would usually meet girls on like Tinder or OkCupid or Plenty of Fish. And I would talk to them, right? And you'd bang one, like you'd be able to bang out like 1 out of 10. Maybe a little bit less, maybe 1 out of 20 of the girls, but you'd still be out like boom, and then I'd run like 3 in a rotation. And I remember I was so routine that I would take these girls to Applebee's, a certain Applebee's, like a couple of times a week. It was a different girl. Sometimes it was the same girl. I would get like, we'd go after 10 for fucking half apps. Like, this is how I was fucking around. And the guy knew exactly what the drinks I wanted. Shit, I was always tip him nice and everything. And then I would fuck him in my car or at my house or whatever. And now I'm older and I don't do that anymore. And now like I hang out with my mom once a week, and like I catch up with my mother and I hang out with her. Or, bro, can I tell you one of the weirdest new things that I've been doing that I've been like really enjoying? My wife went on vacation with her mother and brother last week, and I went to the mall by myself and I got sushi at the mall, and I just sat down and I just fucking ate sushi by myself in the mall. And let me just tell you, it was really nice. It was really nice to just be alone by myself in a public place eating. I know that this seems fucking lame, but like it was nice. I got to go out and spend time on myself. And you young guys probably won't enjoy that. But when you get older, you're like, damn. When your whole life is like, what do I have to do work-wise? Work, wife. You got to take care of your responsibilities. Work, wife, house. I went out. I ordered sushi. I sat down. I ate. Looked at my phone a little bit. I got up. And I bought a PlayStation 5. It's fucking incredible. It was incredible. And this is the priority, is slowing down. Bro, can I tell you, you want to know one of the a big reason, not the biggest, but one of the reasons why like I'm so happy to not be fucking around with other girls anymore. It takes a lot of effort. And I am tired of that. I'm tired of putting effort into other girls, because you want to know what? I put more effort into my content now. I put more effort into my work, and I'm becoming more successful. Like, women, not even just women, but like trying to date and play the game, it's fun, but like you don't build. You're not building your life. It's a weight. It's fun temporarily. But if I put, so much mental energy into a girl, and then so much time into taking her out, getting her to like me, and then fucking around with her, and then drop her in 3 months. That's all this time I could have spent doing a little bit more work, So that's just where I am now, man. And you got to grow out of it. When you're young, this is all you want to do. So you got to get it out of your system. Get it out of your system. But, at some point you're going to be like, damn, this is fucking boring. This is what happens.
I've had pussy. I've had enough of it for a lifetime. I'm like, bro, if I get new one, it's not even. But when I spend time with my niece and I'm watching her like walk for the first time, or I'm seeing her say words, like that shit hits different.
So you giving up on your balls?
Bro, he just went to like this heartfelt fucking thing, and you're just giving up on your balls. No, man, priorities in life, bro. It's
not even that. It's like, I've had experiences where the pussy was just like in front of me on the platter, and I'm like, bro, I just want to sleep early today.
Yeah, you're getting tired. You're getting older. Like, that's just like, I'm too tired to fuck.
Well,
it's not even like you're too physically tired. It's just it becomes like boring. Like there's nothing else to really do. It's crazy because like when I was big on TikTok, bro. Oh my god, dude, it's crazy, bro. When you have a little bit of internet fame, fucking, it's incredible. You do whatever you want. You know how many girls are fucking reaching out to me and shit. But by the time you get to that age, it's like, oh, okay, kind of get a little bit bored. You know what I'm saying?
It's. But if I was faced with the same choice, if I was to see family or things like that, I wouldn't make that same decision. What I'm trying to tell you is your priority shift as you get older, as you start to
Is
get
your
realize
priority shifting, or is your testosterone just dropping?
No.
It's your priorities are shifting. Why is there always this excuse? It's always a subtextual argument. It's like, I'm better than you because I have more testosterone. Like, I mean, I'm not for nothing. I guarantee if we took a testosterone test, like, I'm going to have more testosterone than you. Like, I have very high testosterone. That's why I'm balding. I'm not even kidding. Like, I just want you to know that. Who cares? It's just about life experience. The fuck are you talking about, bro?
As a man, your testosterone doesn't drop until like you're 40.
Tate's older than you, and he's still on like get pussy shit. I mean, he's talking about how it gets.
Yeah, exactly. That debunks your argument, though. Well, Tate's older than you, and it's like, yes, that's the point. It's not testosterone. You just get over shit. And if you actually listen to Andrew Tate instead of just try to like imitate him like Sneako does, this guy like talks about how sex isn't that big much of a priority anymore, and he's trying to develop like meaningful connections with people. Like, do you like this is one of those weird things where like somehow I'm like, well, how are you not as educated on your idol? Like, you gotta listen to the guy. You have to stop cosplaying as Andrew Tate and actually listen to the man.
Yeah, he talks about how he gets boring and how he's barely on it nearly as much anymore.
But every video you watch is like, I wake up and I push 2 bitches out of the way. Are you waking up and pushing 2 bitches out of the way?
Bro. You know that he's saying a lot of that shit for shits and giggles.
That's
okay?
true. Yeah.
No. Listen. If you're making money and you're making moves, you ain't got time to be with hoes all day.
No,
and I'll tell you this right. Most of the day. Most of the day.
I got shit to do.
If you're making money and you're really making money, you ain't got time to be with hoes most of the day. And you don't want to because you realize that making money and being able to take care of your shit is far more rewarding.
True. Yeah.
Again, you a young man. What are you, 24, 23?
23.
I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Be about that. Get as much pussy. Go do whatever you got to do. I'm just telling you that when you see people speak differently, it's not because, oh, they're turning into beta males or, oh, they want to be feminist all of a sudden. Life gives you experience. And as a result, it shapes a lot of the way that you think about stuff.
He goes crying right now.
Ask any motherfucker who got kids and talk to them about it, and they say, that's the best thing in my life.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
And then your wife leaves you and takes half your money, takes it.
There it is. Hey, my kid's the best thing. Well, then your wife leaves you. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up and listen. Every single time somebody tells you something, you decide to go on a fucking tangent. You're not listening. You're not listening to what this guy's telling you.
The house takes your dog.
That's a separate issue. That's a separate issue.
I'm talking about.
It is a separate issue. But even if you get divorced, a lot of good men, good fathers, even if you get divorced, you're like, I still love my kids and I still want my kids are my priority. It does. Even if you get divorced, you still love I know it's a hot take, but getting divorced means you're still like, I still love my kids and those are still the most important things in my life. Just because you get divorced, you can be like, I have a bitch wife. my ex-wife's a bitch, but I love the fuck out of my kids. That's a good man right there. You don't have to be a good husband or a good wife to be a good mother or a good father. And I think we really need to be understanding that.
Marriages end that way. Over half of marriages ended that. Like, yeah, you have the kids and everything.
I'm talking about divorced dads who have kids and tell you, I would never give up a day with my kid to go be with a hoe. He says, they will tell you, I always prioritize my children. It's not because they became beta simps. It's because they understand what's more important in life. What I'm trying to get to you as a point is life experiences, things that come to you, be it children, be it family, be it whatever the fuck it is. It changes the way that you view priorities in life. And so every time you hear people speak from a different perspective, it's not they're betas or whatever. It's just that life has just changed them through experience.
That sounds boring. I don't want to be. When I'm 32, I want to be fucking double the bitches I'm fucking now. I want to be.
Okay, that's cool, but you're not everybody. That's the whole problem here. You're not everybody. Like, okay,
having a bigger house, having like, I want to be down the Hugh Hefner shit. That's what makes you excited. That's what keeps your balls going. Like, you can't let go of that. You can't let go of your manhood at a certain age. If you give up on that, like, oh, I like playing macaroni drawings with my kids.
How are you gonna meme being a good father? How are you gonna mock being I want to make macaroni fucking drawings with my kids? Yeah, that sounds awesome, bro. I would give you my largest nut. I have huge balls to be able to fucking have kids right now. My wife and I are trying. I would love it. That's what I want to do. The thought of making macaroni sculptures with my fucking stupid asshole kids. That's what I want, bro. That's everything to me. I don't want another girl. I want to have babies. I don't give a fuck. That's where I'm at life. Bro.
You know what you sound like? You sound like a lot of the young women I know who say they just want to travel for the rest of their life and live on the beach. And then they get to 30, 35, and you know what they realize? Damn, I want a husband. I want to have kids.
No, I want a kid too. But I also want 10 bitches in the kitchen.
Okay. And you know what? Once they have those, they realize, oh, this is the shit. I don't need to be out here in Cancun taking fucking selfies all day. Listen, it sounds great to be fucking many women.
No.
I'm just telling you, almost every guy.
That's not a valuable comparison. That's not a good comparison, because a woman saying she wants to travel and drink martinis and Mykonos all day, that's giving up, and that's not doing anything. For me to have 10 bitches in the crib, like in bikini serving me food, I need to constantly be getting it, because if I'm not getting it, then they can't be here. They don't respect me. So constantly having women in my life is to motivate me more to be the best man I could be. The more bitches I got, the badder bitches that are here, the more I'm going to keep on going. Women motivate you.
Okay, listen, I'm not.
Women motivate you. I don't know. Like my wife motivates me. Your kids can motivate you. I mean, that's fine. You can. If you want to be motivated by having as many girls as possible and having a lot of like empty, meaningless relationships that are completely financially driven, you do you. But like, you're not getting a deep emotional connection by having 10 girls. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. That's just something that's not going to happen. I want you to know that I get that. Oh, I like polyamory. Most polyamorous people, like, it's just not easy to do. You're not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to develop these relationships with. You're not going to be able to develop like deep relationships if you engage like that. That's just the reality, man.
Mad at you, and like I said, I think this just comes down to a different age. So I'm not even going to try to like convince you anything. All I'm going to say is this: you're going to have experiences with your friends. Y'all going to go to maybe a specific dinner. You take a trip. Maybe y'all watch a movie. Y'all have a laugh, and that's going to be a really valuable memory for you. And as you're going to get older, you're going to forget about 95% of the women that you fucked. But you're always going to remember the stuff that you spend with your family, the really beautiful moments. And so you don't have to believe me today. You don't have to believe me tomorrow. I'm just saying, if you come at a point later on in life where you start to question certain things, maybe just think back on this and just think about it. That's all. I don't think you got to agree, because you're not at that point yet in your life.
I do agree. Like, that sounds appealing to me too. Like going and watching like a rom-com, like cuddling up and she puts your legs on top and you have a candle lit. That sounds great. But nowadays, the way Western women think, they always are aiming for more. So that.
What does that mean nowadays? The way that you don't you're 23, bro. What are you talking about? What do you mean the way West? You don't know how women think. What are you talking about? This is not the. What does that mean? They always want more.
It does sound ideal, but all of them, because of Instagram and because of stuff they're looking at, women don't want to settle as much as like at the same level that men don't want to settle. What is your general opinion on the manosphere?
My opinion on the manosphere, at least from like a lot of the content creators that I've seen, I think there's a need for it, which is what I've always said. There's a need for content that kind of helps you guide young men, because we don't have any tools. I just think that a lot of the people who are doing the leading aren't very good at their job. But I also say, I'm not going to be one of them people who's going to take over their spot. So I can't even knock them that hard for trying to do what they do. But sometimes I like to have a laugh at some of the goofy shit I hear. I'm like, I ain't buying that. So
that's how like your girlfriend needs to delete her Instagram.
The girlfriend, so I've had this conversation many times. My issue isn't that the girlfriend needs to delete the Instagram. My reason is just some of the reasons that they say is goofy. Like, if you want to say your girl doesn't want it, you don't want to have Instagram because you don't want her thirst trapping or having her ass out online. I'm like, that's perfectly sensible to say you don't want your girlfriend doing that. Fair. You get what I'm saying? Me, it's the whole double speak that these guys do, where it's like, oh, my girl can be thirst trapping, but if I want to do it, it's perfectly fine. It's like, okay, if you're making millions of dollars and you one of them high value dudes, that's fine. But most of the motherfuckers watching your shit are poor. So them rules don't apply to them. So let's talk about real people. Let's not just talk about what rich niggas do.
So do you think maybe it's not that you're being disingenuous, but that you appeal to normal people rather than trying to elevate people?
See, like, why are you always taking these knock shots, bro? Why are you so disrespectful? Like, dude, the way he phrases this.
Maybe it's not that you're being disingenuous, but that you appeal to normal people rather than trying to elevate people.
Like, you appeal to normal people rather than trying to elevate people. Most people are going to be normal people, dude. And like trying to advocate for dudes to be good guys. Like, hey, you should be a good man, and trying to like educate young men on trying to be good men. That's not a bad thing. Dude, this guy's always fucking being disrespectful. He just doesn't know how to be a respectful fucking person.
Sneako, at the end of the day, most people are never going to be filthy rich. You're the exception. You're the 1%. That's not possible for everybody.
Rich. I'm not rich, but like I tell my chat every day, like
you are. Whether you realize it, Sneako, you make well over 6 figures. Yeah, you are less than 1%.
I love how this guy's. I'm not rich. I know that this guy has a lot of money. I see the same thing happen when I was talking to him, because I was like, yeah, you got a lot of money. Oh, I'm not rich. I'm not rich. I know that you have a lot of money because I make a good amount of money, even with like the views I get. I know that you make a good amount of money. I fucking know that you do, because I do. And if I'm making good money with my views, you're making good money with your views. So this whole fucking dishonest, oh, I'm not rich. Bro, you make a lot of fucking money.
Still, like, my student loans are being paid off this week. So technically, I'm in debt.
I'm in debt. oh, dude, I make like $300,000 or $400,000 a year, but I'm in debt. Then just stop being in debt. With that amount of money, you could just stop being in debt. I'm in debt too, but I still make a fucking lot of money. I don't care. Like, what are you talking about? I'm still paying off my fucking like $17,000 car that I bought before I had a lot of money. I can go buy another whatever fucking car I want right now. I don't care, but I'm not going to because it's boring. I like my car. That's it. Like, I don't want a new car. I'm in debt. A lot of people are in debt. There's a thing called like good debt versus bad debt. Student loans are considered generally like good debt. Okay, bad debt's like credit card debt. So what you're saying, it doesn't even make. What are you talking about? It
doesn't matter whether your projected income for this year and for the next subsequent years, you are less than 1%.
It's projected because I'm putting in the work. But right now,
I don't disagree.
On paper, I have negative money.
I'm not disagreeing.
I very highly doubt that you have negative money. I don't know what to tell you. On paper, and even if you did, again, there's a such thing as good debt versus bad debt. Like, I don't know. Like, if you have like a $50,000 school loan, but you're making $110,000 a year, you're doing real well, okay? Because you want to know why? You don't pay that $50,000 over in a year, okay? It's not an immediate debt, okay? So,
with you that you didn't work hard. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is the rules of dating that exist for you as somebody who's making a lot more money, who has a lot more flexibility, are not going to be the same rules of dating that exist for the everyday person. Do you understand that?
Okay. That's fair. But shouldn't we encourage men to strive to be high value men instead of just accepting their place on the totem pole?
Yes, but like, there's only so much you can do. What's the question? I don't understand the question. There's only so much you could do. You get them to strive to be a male with a good value, not by telling them to fuck as many girls as possible, but by educating them on the best career paths to be able to have the best outcome in their life. Like I was doing before when it comes to like going to school or getting a trade.
No, I don't think you should be pushing people to strive to be that.
You should be complacent.
Because here's the thing. It's one thing to say, hey guys, if you want to get to this level, cool, congratulations. Most people are never going to get to live that life.
But they understand that. A lot of guys give. Okay, but here's my problem. A lot of guys give up, and instead of admitting where they're at or trying to improve, they make up excuses for why. Like they'll say, the crypto guys that I'm doing videos with, they got lucky with their investments. It's like, no.
Well, probably, yeah, but okay, whatever.
You don't get lucky, like.
But like, that's not. People don't want to make really risky investments for money. That's what you're advocating for. It's not smart. You know, play your game, do your thing, but you have a disposable income. That's the only reason why it's going well. What are you talking about? That's not like a normal everyday experience. People don't have the disposable income to be doing that. They have to spend money on their life existing. What the fuck are you on about? Like, this is what I'm talking about, like disconnected perspective. He has a ton of additional money to be able to invest. If he's saying he's in debt, it's because he's investing in like a bunch of like currency shit, and it can never be that bad for him because like he has enough money to be able to make a bad decision, and then since he has the money to make a bad decision or any decision, it's not going to be considered a bad decision.
Being smart puts you in lucky positions.
What the fuck is happening?
Everybody can get it now. The internet allows everyone to be rich. You're making that face, but
it's not true. Not everybody can be rich. It's literally just not how it works. You just cannot all be rich. That's just impossible.
Money now is all numbers on your phone.
If everybody was rich, then nobody would be rich. Like, that's just, what are you talking about?
Okay, Sneako, you understand that the whole principle of riches is the whole idea of abundance, and that if you have an abundance, somebody has to have less?
Yeah.
Yeah, but everybody watching this stream has an internet connection, so we all have the capability to get there.
Sure, but that doesn't mean everybody will get there. It's going to take a lot of luck and some skill. What are you talking about?
We all have the capability to get there, but it's only the resources are finite. It's not possible for everybody to be filthy rich. It's not possible.
It is.
Sneako, you just have a fundamental misunderstanding of the way the world works. I don't know what else to tell you.
It is. If they have a phone, it is. There's no excuse anymore. With the phone connection, all the information's online. All the stuff that I've learned about how to make videos, about how to make money, have been from YouTube tutorials. Everything. We all have the capability to get rich. And like,
you know, it's crazy. Everybody in Venezuela is rich. So you know, everybody's doing real well over there. I'm telling you, Sneako's going to be a fucking like leftist communist in like in 2 years.
I think you saying that is like encouraging complacency when, because it's getting so much harder for men, we should not encourage that behavior. Like,
no, that's not.
It's getting harder for men. It's getting harder for everybody. Dude, I really am getting irritated with this fucking game. I've been stuck on. What is the hard, bro? What the fuck just happened? I was soft locked for like 10 minutes. Whatever, dude.
Not what I'm doing. I'm not trying to encourage people to be complacent. What I'm trying to tell you is that your paradigm is all fucked up. The idea that everyone can be rich is not backable by any fucking economist in the world. Nobody would ever say everybody could be rich. However, what I am trying to say is you don't need to be rich to lead a good life, to live a life of happiness. I don't know about you and where you've lived specifically, but I've had the luxury of living all over. Even in the States, when I go to the South, a lot of people out there aren't talking about being filthy rich. If they can have their home, have their farm, have their land, have their guns, have their wife, they're happy. Not everybody needs to be quote unquote rich to live a good life. And when you sell this paradigm to people, you're inherently making so that vast majority of your audience who buy into this will always be unhappy.
Yeah, well, that's how the crypto scam works. Hey guys, invest in this crypto, and then I will too, and then I'm gonna pump and dump. I doubt that Sneako. I don't think Sneako's doing that. Wait, Sneako's gonna be doing a pump and dump in like a year. He's gonna pull an Ice Poseidon, bro. I'm telling you.
Because they'll never be able to reach something that is not. It's not feasible for everybody.
Why
so
is
what
it
I'm
feasible
trying to
for everybody? If we all have a phone and interconnection.
Bro, because not everybody can be rich, or else nobody is rich. Like, how do you not know basic economy? Like, this is basic economics here. I don't understand. I don't really get it.
And we could all download Coinbase, Gemini. We could all make content. We could all there's an e-com. There's a million fucking ways to make money online.
Okay.
I think you'd have to probably sit down with an economist for him to break down all the numbers for you.
Why?
But because you're asking me how to explain the breakdown of resources in the world and how not everybody can have an abundance. If everyone has an abundance, the word abundance doesn't even exist. Richness nearly determines that you have more than others.
Sure.
You understand that?
To get rich in the first place, you need to accept the realities of the world and that things are unfair, and you need to apply yourself.
Okay.
Most people hear what you're saying.
I'm going to tell you right now, there are people who are working objectively harder than Sneako, myself, and Abba in the world, right? Then they're poor as fuck. The hardest working people I've ever met are poor people, okay? And they are just generally disadvantaged. Just shit happens, bro. A lot of times they may like not have been able to get access to like education. They're working their ass off. Like, you know, it's just like you have a ton of money and you're able to invest it in shit and you're pretending everybody has it. Like, dude, when most people are in like actual debt. Like, they don't make an abundance of money to be like, you know what, I'm going to go fucking just jerk off my money and fucking spend it on crypto. Because if you fail on something, it doesn't really matter. Because you have the money for it. And you're young, too, so you're going to, like, recuperate the money, right? Like, that's how, even, like, if you have a 401k with a company as when you're young, you'll generally elect to invest, like, really recklessly. Because it could have, overall, you can have, like, a really strong... really strong gains in your investment because you're young and you can deal with it. And as you get older, you have to like change that and moderate a little bit more because you can't take those risky investments, right? Like, you're a young dude with a lot of money. Of course, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Of course, you're going to be rich because you have money. Money makes money. Like, that's how the fucking shit works, right? Like, that's just how life works. You know, that's how it is.
A lot of people hear what you're saying and just accept, yeah, I'm never going to be rich. And then they won't. If you think that way, you will not get rich. But if you think it's possible, I have to get rich or die trying, more likely than not, you will.
No, that's just... It's not going to happen. Like it could happen for you, but most people who are like, I really want to get rich, end up not rich because you can't just be rich.
Sneako, this is like one of those things where I feel like people think everyone's the main character. Okay. No, not everyone is the main character. Some people are side characters. Some people are really good role players within a storyline. Not everyone gets to be a main character. Not everyone gets to live by the same rule. Not everyone gets to be a king. Okay. There are kings, there are jesters, there are other people, but not everyone gets to live at the top. That's just not the way the world is built.
Yeah.
But the world for average men now is getting harder and harder. Like, the average man is invisible now.
What do you think the world used to be like that you think the average man is invisible? Like, I really just don't understand this concept. Like, we go back to like the fucking medieval times and you got like peasants that are just like they're having like 10 kids, but like 9 of them are dying. And they're like lucky for one of them to grow up, but then they die of like dysentery the second that they like think about having a kid. Like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, we're getting more depressed because social media and because of lack of wealth. That's everybody's getting more depressed. This idea that it's like men are only ones like dealing with stress is weird. It's a weird idea. I just I don't know where he gets this like idea where like men are getting more invisible. No, you're feeling more invisible because you're 23 and you're just starting to experience life and you realize that it's not as like glamorous as it used to be, right? That's how you're feeling right now.
Yeah, okay. I don't disagree with that. So we can talk about that. But the solution to that is not making everyone a high-value man. Even Kevin Samuels will tell you that's not even possible. God rest his soul. That's not possible for everyone to be filthy rich, which is why Kevin always talked about encouraging these women to understand the importance of a blue-collar person and to be respectful of them. Because the guy doing your plumbing is extremely important in society. And
well, let's be honest. The guy doing your plumbing is also making a fucking killing. Listen, do plumbing. This is what I'm telling you. You don't know what you want to do to go to school? Be a fucking plumber. You're going to beat the shit out of your body, but you're going to die anyway. But you're also going to get a fucking good-ass pension. You're not going to have good knees, but you're going to be able to have a good fucking life. I'm telling you right now. You put the fucking work in. Be an HVAC tech. These jobs aren't going away with automation. They're not going away with automation. Get those jobs. Those are good fucking guys. They're making good money. That's money, okay? Go do that. Okay, go do a fucking trade. You're going to be a very let me tell you right now, you're going to be a very desirable guy to a lot of women. I know that like we're playing this game where, high value man, bro. If you're like, hey, how much do you make? I make like, I make like $140,000 a year. I have a pension with a company. wow, I can live a really good life. That's how a woman's gonna think of you. So do that. That's good advice. It's great advice.
Even though he might not be the most rich person, he still brings the ability to give you stability. His goal with what he was saying wasn't that everybody got to be rich and all these thoughts got to get with kings. No, what he was trying to say is that your standards are unreasonable and that you don't deserve that. So relax. You understand? You can't just sit there
and relax and calm down.
What I am telling them is that everyone trying to buy into this whole like I'm gonna get rich one day is making them miserable because it's not possible. So
how is it not possible? Like, I don't understand. You're telling me to ask an economist, but you're also saying just give up. It's not possible. But
that's not what he's saying. He's saying have reasonable expectations. You want to know why a bunch of kids are failing nowadays and like miserable? Because you're all trying to be fucking TikTok celebrity stars, and then you're fucking failing out. Dude, this game is horrible. This is the second time I've been locked up in this game. This is fucking ridiculous. I don't like this game. It's fucking dumb.
It is. If you have a phone,
okay. So point me to one place on the society where everyone's rich. Where's the society?
Everybody applies themselves because look, the rules of the game now. All of capitalism is a game, and since birth, they suppress you and tell you to go into these worlds, go into dead end school, get this job here, do this, take your meds, and so instead of like realizing that they can get rich if they apply themselves, they give up. It is possible, but the game is
not everybody can get rich. Then nobody's rich. Like you can't. If everybody, well, that doesn't make any sense. Do we not understand the fundamentals about like more money in the market means like less value to the money? Like I don't understand. You like this is Sneako's a fucking communist, bro.
It's rigged against them, so the rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
That's true, but we're advocating for a stronger middle class, not for everybody to get rich. Okay.
So
that's not true.
Are you saying throughout all of society and all of world history, the reason why there wasn't an entire society of rich people is because they didn't work hard enough?
Is because not because they didn't work hard enough, but they've been brainwashed to think that they need to relax and calm down, that they need to accept their place in society instead of striving for more. And the reason they think that,
bro, you should always strive for more. What more is dependent on like what's going on in your life. Like if you want to be rich, you're not going to be like, okay, guys, I'm going to invest all $30,000 into crypto. Woo! What you do is you go, okay, guys, well, I have to make the $30,000 first. If I need to make the $30,000 first, I need to get a job. You start working a job. Okay, I'm not making a lot of money. Maybe I can go and get like a degree or in something that like a technology degree. I'll make a lot of money there. Or maybe I could do like a plumbing thing, or I could do some kind of a HVAC or whatever. Then you make more money, right? You continuously build. That's how you do this, okay? But like your entire make money, get rich quick scheme is investing it into fucking sketchy cryptocurrencies. So, you know,
that is because the people at the top do not want those people to challenge their position. But I'm saying fuck those people. Fuck them all at the top. Touch your kids on islands. Suck my dick. I'm gonna get there. I don't not with the part with the kids, but I want my own island. What's the bad bitches? Okay. Fuck you, getting everything, taking private jets all over the world, telling me what I can and can't do, what I should inject and what I shouldn't inject, telling us to quarantine because of some gay STD from monkeys.
Gay STD from monkeys. Incredible.
They're going to keep us inside again. You know that? And now I see it. I thought everybody was going to think that the monkey shit was a joke. And now people are like, why are we locking down again? That mentality is why so many people aren't rich and why people think it's not possible.
So you think that if people aren't rich, they're going to be miserable?
What's interesting is that like we weren't quarantining years ago. This was kind of like a somewhat new thing. So this idea that like they're just going to keep telling us to quarantine, like this is actually a relatively new thing that we've been quarantining lately. You know what I mean? Like it's not like something that's happened historically. It's just that we had like a really bad virus. By the way, like that's even like Bill Gates was like, yeah, this is how we're all going to fucking die. We're going to get some kind of like super spreadable virus. And of course, the increased chances of that spreading is when people are like, it doesn't really exist because I don't know anybody who passed away. And like you live like a magical fucking, I don't know, like privileged life. Good for you, brother. I'm just saying. It's getting harder to be happy if you're an average person because of that. Yes, because rich people are stealing resources from fucking middle class people, not paying them the amount of money that you should get. That doesn't mean that everybody needs to be rich. It means that we need to like really think about the way in which we which way we distribute wealth. We need to strengthen the middle class. That's a different thing than like we should all be rich. Like it's just not going to happen. But that's not what I asked you. I asked you, if people aren't rich, can they be happy? They can, but they also need to be complacent to some extent. And okay, so I just want you guys to understand something that like once you make a certain amount of money, like money's not going to make you happier. They've done like research, they've done studies on this. I think last time I looked at it was like $70,000 a year. I'm sure that's changed with like inflation, but also depending on where you live. Like if you live in New York, you're probably going to need more. But like, yeah, you're not going to necessarily get happier. There's other things to do, like building strong emotional connections that will generally make people happier. Like you don't need to be fucking filthy rich to be like, yeah, I'm really enjoying X, Y, and Z. Like, no, man, you really don't need that much money. Okay.
I'm the type of guy where I need to have complete freedom to be happy. If I feel any restrictions on me, and I think a lot of men naturally feel like that. If someone's telling you what to do, there's a part of you that's being suppressed. Because men, naturally, you just want to conquer. Like, I get pissed off when people have more than me. Like, I see hotels and resorts. Like, why can't I own that? Why can't I get that?
Okay. But let's just take a couple steps back. So you agree with me that it's not because people are poor that they can't be happy, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So we're on the same page. So my prescription to people isn't that you have to aspire to be rich or aspire to be this. What I'm trying to sell folks is you can be happy regardless of your financial situation. Well, I mean, above a certain level. Obviously, if you're like struggling to make your rent every month, then obviously that's a different situation. But past like 40, 50K in most cities, not every city, you're going to be okay. 50K? So now that...
Yeah, well, maybe not cities, but it depends on the area. I understand what he's saying.
Listen, maybe not New York, okay? But if you take 50K and you go to a lot of major cities, yes, you're going to be good. Okay?
Really?
So let me just... Yes. So...
I don't know. Maybe I haven't really been to those cities. So it's possible. I mean, but I feel like maybe a little more than 50K. But okay.
Past a certain point, what I want to discuss is what are the things that lead people to be happy outside of money? I think we have such a fixation on material goods.
You need a good relationship. You need freedom. You need to be able to do what you want to speak your
mind. When you say a good relationship, what does that mean?
A good relationship with the people around you, your friends, your family, and your woman.
Okay. All right. So community, right?
Probably going to be difficult to develop a good relationship with a woman if you think women are inferior to men. So, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let me ask you, of the two things, let me know which was more important. Do you think it's more important for somebody to have 50K and have a good community, or for someone to have $1 million but have no community? Which one do you think is better?
50K with the community, probably yes.
Okay.
Can I respond to that? They are trying to separate community now. They're trying to divide us more than ever. You know what they did during the COVID? They said to not discommunicate with your family who didn't take this. Don't talk to them.
That's not what anybody said. What they said is you should get the vaccine so you can be around your family. I got the vaccine. I didn't die. My brain didn't fucking explode. I didn't really want to get it. I only got it because my wife had to get it for her job, and we were like, if you're gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. You know what I mean? Just in case anything happened. Guess what? Nothing happened. So that was interesting. I can't believe that my brain didn't fucking explode when I got to give it the vaccine. Nobody said don't be with your family anymore. They said we need to be careful because this is a really intense virus. Hey guys, 6.4 million people died globally, 1 million in the United States from COVID alone. That's from excess death rates. Okay? Oh, they misreported it. We track COVID based on excess death rates. This is how many people died more than what people would generally die. Just go get fucking vaccinated. That's all you have to do, motherfucker. Okay? I just want you to know. This game is really pissing me the fuck off.
If someone's not wearing, don't talk to them. They try to divide us more and more. If you voted for this orange guy and not the older guy, then don't talk to him. They try to divide us more. If you don't put a black square on your Instagram, then you're racist. They try to divide us more and more. So
Bro, you need to really go outside because nobody gives a singular fuck in the real world about a fucking black square. Nobody gives a shit, okay, about dumb fucking black squares on your Instagram bio. There are plenty of people calling that shit out. I was calling it out. Okay, there's a reason. Like, nobody online. Dude, you're so terminally online. It's fucking insane to me.
Community is falling apart. Like, so many people are so polarized because of what they believe in and their standings, and it's all encouraged from the top. They say you need to believe in this, like you need to put Ukraine in your bio, put this GoFam, and everyone's just like is so political that there's a lack of community, and that's why I need to get that. The idea is that people's worldviews are so different that there's a genuine lack of community, and especially on social media is making it worse.
Mm-hmm. So, just taking a couple steps back. So we started off at young men are really miserable and they're unhappy, right? And then we talked about income, and you agreed with me that even with 50K, it's probably better to have $50,000 a year and have a really good sense of community, family, significant other, friends, than it is for you to be extremely wealthy and have nobody around you. Right. So you put community above money. Yes?
Right. But it's almost impossible to have a good community now. As a young man with 50K, it's almost impossible.
But that's not true. That's not true. Okay, why is it impossible?
Because of how divided everybody is. Because of how they literally say stand 6 feet apart. There you
What's so funny about this whole division argument is that you're super toxic when it comes to people. Like if you have a different opinion with somebody, you just scream at them. Sneako is the reason why people are not able to communicate with each other. He screams at everybody he disagrees with. How are you good? You are the problem. Like I don't understand what you're talking about. What are you talking about? And nobody gives a fuck about 6 feet anymore, bro. What the fuck are you on about? Nobody cares. Nobody gives a fuck about COVID anymore. Like, have we realized that nobody gives a singular shit about fucking COVID? Nobody cares. Okay, we're over it. We've moved on. Like, yeah, it's probably not great, but people are like, you know what? I'm fucking tired of it, and that's it. And that's just been the way that the world is. I don't know. Like, it'd be 6 feet. I haven't gone to a single place where they still require people to quarantine. Now, maybe that place exists. Maybe New York, California. That's not most of the fucking world. Okay, I don't really know what to tell you, bro. Okay, so it doesn't exist. You're making things up. You're just making things up. If you said this like last year, you would be like right on board with being like a fucking crazy conservative conspiracy theorist. But like right now, we're just not experiencing this anymore. It's just not happening.
You go, separating community, cover your face. I can't talk to you. Don't
Who
look.
has to cover their face still? What do you want about, bro? It just doesn't exist. I don't know. Maybe some places, like the doctor's office. Yeah, of course. You're in the fucking doctor's office. I get why they have. But you know what? I went to the fucking doctor the other day, the hospital. I took it off right when I got to my station, and like they didn't care. Like they don't even care anymore. People don't really give a shit anymore. Okay.
Look at me. Put a shield over you. They're dividing people. They don't want you to have community anymore. Sit in this seat and take away the chair in the middle so you can't look at someone else.
Okay.
Okay. I don't disagree that during the pandemic it's probably hard to have.
And there's another one coming. There's another. The monkey thing just started. The world WHO just declared it.
And if it turns out to be an extended thing that we're going to deal with for many more years to come, then I think you'll have. Well, hey, we will see. And if you do, then I will concede to you that. Although I'm conceding to you. I'm saying you're right. Okay, breathe. I'm saying you're correct. If we have to continuously live in lockdown in perpetuity, where we never get to spend time with other people and be around other folks, I would agree with you that it is extremely dangerous for people and it makes it untenable to have communities. Okay, I'm conceding to you.
Okay. Do you know how many people I talk to who are like, man, I just moved out. I got a job. I'm making money, but like, how do I make friends? Where do I talk to people? Like, I can't go to school because.
Well, you know what you can do? Listen to Sneako and just scream at people. It really helps a lot. It helps a lot.
My school shut down.
Okay. Well, listen, I can't speak about everything. I know you say it's all connected, so for me, it's too large in scope.
What's
so
your idea about the government? Do you trust the government?
I trust it for some things, and I don't trust it for others. I think the government fucks up in some places, and it does well in others.
Sure.
That's how I kind of view it. And so,
it's pretty. Yeah, I think that's pretty normal for most people.
if you want to go think case by case, fine. But government operates in different branches. It's hard to say the government. It's like saying, do you think the shoe industry is good? It's like, well, what company? Some companies are worse than others. Some of them are ethical. Some of them are not. You can't just go. I feel like when I hear you speak so broadly, I don't know what is your top. What do you think about women? What does that mean? Like, you have to be more specific. And so that's what I'm saying. Let's just focus on one thing, okay? And then we'll go from there.
Ask me something. I've been ranting like.
Yeah. I know. You've been passionate.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that was an interesting conversation. It's nice that ABBA was able to get through to Sneako to some degree. At least that's how I feel about it. You just got to chill the fuck out. Stop screaming. That's it. Like, you know what? If you have a perspective that's worth listening to, Sneako, you're going to get through to it more if you talk to people. Okay? Like, this whole idea is like, I know more than I know better than you. Okay, if you do, then you want to know what? Then like you have an opportunity for everybody else's audience that you're listening to, or that when you're talking to somebody else when they have an audience, to communicate to that audience that you actually know what the fuck you're on about. But when you just scream at people and make assumptions, nobody's ever going to know. Nobody's ever going to know. So when you're like, I'm trying to wake people up, you're not really. You're just trying to yell at people and not really engage critically in the conversation. If you're so right, just relax and talk to people and you'll be right. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.